Rob Rudder, and in this video we're going to be talking about the Eurovac Bag Separator, which can be used in car wash and detailing applications. On the bag separator we have two inlets and outlets. This is the inlet where the dirty air comes in, cyclonically separates the dust and debris, dropping to the canister below. The producer, which is beside the unit, is connected to the outlet of the separator up top. For ease of installation purposes, we have inlet outlet on the left side and an inlet and outlet on the right side. So you can put your pump on the left side of the unit or the right side of the unit, depending on how your facility is laid out and for ease of installation. What we're looking at on the right-hand side of the unit here is an optional upgrade to your bag separator, which is a MagnaHelic gauge. You're going to see what this gauge tells you is when your filters are dirty. You're going to see a range of 0 to 10 inches of water column on the top and 0 to 2.5 kilopascals on the bottom. Inches of water is the common one that most people use. So when your filters are dirty is right in the middle at 5. You can take out your filters and put them through the washing machine. If you find that the MagnaHelic gauge goes back down to a reasonable level below 5, continue to use them. If you've washed them a couple times and it's still up around that 5 after washing them, you're going to need to replace those altogether. The MagnaHelic gauge is set up as such that you have the bottom port hooked up to polytube, which is the dirty side. On the top, you have the polytube hooked up to the clean side. If you have a VFD, which is another optional upgrade, which speeds up or slows down the motor on demand, you would have a pressure transducer connected to this fitting here, which would have a T-fitting, and that is where the pressure transducer would go. On the bottom of your separator, you've got an access door to the collection canister, which we have a sticker on there which should be emptied daily. Once you start using the system, you're going to get a feel for how often you're going to need to change that canister. But out of the gates, once you get using it, start daily, and then you'll get a more routine schedule on when it actually needs to be changed, because it really all depends on the usage. In order to gain access to the collection canister at the bottom, you're going to open the 3 latches on the right here. Open the door. Inside, you're going to see your collection canister. One thing worth noting is at the back, you see this portion is open. The front portion has a lip. You do want to make sure when you're putting it back in, the flat side goes back in. Otherwise, you are going to struggle to get it in, as it will need to fit inside this plate, sliding back in and back into the canister. Obviously, you're going to change, empty the canister as needed. You know, as we mentioned, empty daily out of the gates, and then once you get a feel for how often it needs to be changed, you can get your own schedule that works for your site. One thing worth noting is when you are unlatching and relatching the door, don't over tighten this. This canister door is going to be under vacuum pressure when the system is on, which is going to suck it tight. You don't need to over tighten these latches, which are tightened and loosened by spinning this. Keep them at a reasonable tension, but not over tightened. Inside the top portion of your bag filter separator is going to be an access door to the bag filters. To gain access to the filters, you're going to open the 3 latches on the right side, and you are going to open the front door where you're going to see your bag filters. Each different size of separator is going to have a different number of bag filters. These filters are going to need to be changed or cleaned, so you're going to need to gain access through that front door. The frequency of change or cleaning is going to depend on use, but you should get a regular maintenance schedule going. At the very least, check them on a monthly basis. And ideally, if you go with the optional upgrade to the MagnaHelic gauge. It will give you a clear indication on when those filters are either dirty or need to be changed completely. In order to change your bag filters, you are going to go to the bottom where there's a snap fitting. Inside, you're going to apply a decent amount of pressure, which pops out the bottom and then snaps back into place. That's showing you how it goes out and then going back in the same way you took it out and snapping back into place. Up top, it is held in place by Velcro, and they come out as such. Putting them in obviously is going to be the same, but in reverse. There's a bar up top, which you loop it around and then secure it into place with the strap down. On the top and bottom access doors for your canister and your bag filters, you have a gasket which when you shut the door, it creates an airtight seal. Over time, when you're opening and closing this door, you're going to get wear and tear on this gasket. In order to change this gasket, it is quite an easy removal and install. It is just an insert which goes into the groove of the separator doors, top and bottom. So obviously to remove it, you're going to continue to peel this off, and then to put it back in place, you just line it up with the edge and push it down and into place. And it is as simple as that. Obviously make sure, do a feel test to make sure everything's snug and tight. You want to shut your door, make sure it, again, keeps the airtight seal. Make sure there's no leaks when you turn the system on, top and bottom. But again, it's a very easy install and removal, and that is how you change the gasket on the top and bottom section of the bag filter separator.